Hello, my fellow builders and friends, and welcome. I just kind of wanted to hop in here and make a terraforming tutorial, or at least my process on building terrain, and especially in survival mode. I'm a huge fan of building, and especially terraforming, and I truly think it's one of the best parts of this game, and definitely one of the best things I do in this game. Anyways, first and foremost, I wanted to set up a little pallet area where I could put all my resources and somewhat act as kind of a home base, and this is what I do in most of my survival worlds and projects as well. And once I stimulated getting a bunch of resources, I'd switch into survival mode and start building. Alright. Now we start getting into the actual building process. And now, what I like to do first and foremost is I like to kind of do these little diagonal pillars. Sometimes they're not diagonal. And then I like to fill in the blanks in between them. So I just kind of connect 2 points and then fill in between them. And the main thing that you really want to avoid is repeating patterns, straight lines really, and you kind of want to make a shape out of it, make it organic, really feel it, and you kind of see me doing that here, with filling in the shapes here and just kind of making it all fit in and work together. And that's really the most important thing that you have to do, and you really got to be conscious of what you're doing, and just look back at it. You can take a step back and look at it, and that's truly one of the most important parts, and you really have to pay attention to that. And that's kind of my first bit of advice there. Now you'll notice I made an outline for the part where the dirt is, and outlines are, again, one of the most important parts of terraforming and building entirely. Focus on your outline and your shape. Don't really make a lot of straight lines, and if you do, give them depth and direction. Don't just make them out of nowhere, and be conscious of your surroundings and make it all fit together. And don't be afraid to jump around. I sometimes do certain parts and then jump to a different part, and like as you can see, I haven't finished the actual cliff face, and now I'm working on like the dirt area, and that's okay. That's completely okay, and you can jump around as much as you want. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of jumping right back into the cliff face, and as you can see I'm still doing those diagonal connecting points, and now I'm using my top outline bit that I made with the dirt, and I'm using that as an anchor so I can connect the stone cliff face to that dirt, and I feel like that is a great technique to use. And again, once again, I'm using those diagonal lines, I'm filling the in-betweens, not making it stagnant, and I wouldn't describe it as random, but it is somewhat randomized as well, because you don't want repeating patterns. And now I'm kind of just finishing up the small little details on the cliff side here, and as you can see, everything kind of turns out pretty well. And the cliff actually works perfectly. Not really perfect, nothing can be perfect, just it really takes trial and error, and I think one of the most important things is don't be afraid to destroy your progress to make more progress. And what I mean by that is if you see something that looks kind of off or wrong, it is completely okay to scrap it and restart. A lot of terraforming is just trial and error, and that's where a lot of people I think get frustrated, is that they think it's going to happen the first time around, and that is just not going to happen. If somebody like me, it can happen like that because I've been doing it for so long and I'm very experienced, but it takes trial and error and lots of practice, and I've been doing this for a very long time, and you can get to the same skill level I can as long as you put in the effort and practice, and that really applies to anything. And now I'm just kind of doing a little flyby around the area, and as you can see, it fits perfectly into the terrain, and obviously there are a couple things you could do, like fix the beach and whatnot, but I think this really could be a great basis for a castle, a base, a house, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, this is just the first example of something, and let's move on to the next one. Now, I kind of wanted to hop into my survival world and show you some practicalities of terraforming, because that's basically kind of all I do. So yeah, this is kind of the project that I've been working on here. This lake, those cliffs over there, this little mountainous area, some stuff over there is all completely and 100% custom terrain, and as you can see, it's not completed at all in some regions, but it's a constant work in progress, and I truly just love building things in this game, and I apply much of the same techniques I just showcased in this region right over here. And And now I'm going to fly over to another region and show you a kind of a bigger scale example of this exact method. So now I have arrived at my nether portal and I'm flying into this area, and this is kind of my castle area here. I'm just gonna go upstairs right quick. And yeah, so basically I used the same technique that I used to on the last clips to build this area here, and I'm kind of out of fireworks now, but I used that technique to make this mountainous region here, and I'm still not done with it, but I just kind of upscaled it. Instead of making it a small little hill, I've upscaled it, and I've done somewhat similar over here where I am trying to. It's still a work in progress, obviously, but you can kind of see the inner workings of it. And this is definitely one of my best examples of how to use this technique and how I think that it is best used. And I still use it on this pathway and everything. And it really ties this area together and really gives it the well-needed depth and really aspect of what I'm going for in this area. And I really think this was a great technique to use, and I really think that you should use it in your world as well. And now I'm gonna try and jump into a bit of the cliff sides that I showed you back in my like spawn region, or like that first area that I just showed you guys. So yeah, let's jump into that. Alright, so now we just start with again another outline, and what I like to do is I kind of like to make a like an upward slope and then fill in the blanks there and just kind of connect it to the terrain behind it. But I like to not do anything with the front at first. I like to get all the top bits done first and really just really focus on the outline, filling it all in, connecting it, making it as smooth as possible. And you're really going for more organic shapes, and if you start seeing straight lines or straight patterns, then you know you're doing something wrong. And I would highly encourage you like pillar up so you can see it from a top down view like you're seeing here, and really kind of see what you're doing while you're doing it. And once again, I will stress the outline and just not having any straight lines at all. And now we're kind of moving into these kind of like droopy bits where like the grass or dirt is like hanging down, and it really adds a nice effect once you then add the cliff faces, which I start now. And again, everything is subject to change, so don't be afraid to break or change anything. And here I'm just kind of doing my process here, and I like to kind of slope it in and then out, connect it to the top. And I really think this is one of the easiest ways to doing this method, but I will say that I think that this method is much harder than the other terraforming aspect that I did right before this one. And you know, again, you can change it. As you can see, I did that several times, how I broke some blocks, changed it up, and I just kind of, again, don't repeat anything, and that is truly one of the most important things. Everything should be diverse and just no patterns really. Obviously there are some patterns like at the bases, but most of them are kind of similar, but you just have to watch for anything straight. And now we're kind of just kind of flying by here, and I'm quite finishing up while it's nighttime. A creeper blew up me quite there. And yeah, we're just flying by it right now, and yeah, the shapes are organic, and now I'm adding in my bone meal here. And bone meal is a great way of adding grass, and I just removed the flowers because I think the randomized pattern makes the terrain look bad. And yeah, that's my cliffside tutorial there. Now I kind of wanted to jump back into this world, and I hopped into creative mode just to show you some examples of some don'ts in terraforming. Now I'm just going to set the time to day really quickly, and this is an example, okay? So as you can see, it's a repeating pattern, it's stagnant. Yeah, okay, maybe the top bit is okay, but if you have repeating patterns and it's stagnant, it's going to look like this, and it's not that good. And even in this example, yes, there is variety, but it's very blocky. And even though you're in a block game, you want it to be more organic. You want to stay away from these straight blocky lines. And if you just like, you know, move it around a little bit, you know, get some depth, you know, get some change and variation, you know, stuff like that, it can make all the difference in your build. And even now, this is already better just by doing that, even though it doesn't really look that good or perfect anyways. And it's the same for here. As you can see, there are straight lines. These are basically all the same height, so it doesn't look all that good. But if you were to come in here and you actually, you know, add some depth in this, and you do this and that, you got these little droopy bits, and you change everything around a little bit, you know, you just get some height variation. That already looks better as it is. And come in here and change this up, you know, you can carve into it, you know, whatever you want to do, and it already looks better. And that's just another don't in terraforming. And then also another thing is, as you can see, this line here is very, very straight. That is another thing. And even here with these two, it is a pattern and it doesn't look good. And even this, it's straighter, but it's the same thing. And then it has this sharp turn, and that's another thing you want to stay away from. And I show this over here, like how it, you know, it just kind of, it's in small increments, and it's always constantly changing. Like this 3, 2, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, you know. Like even this, it's okay, you know, even though this is technically a sharp corner, if you do it like that, it would be fine too. But, you know, you just have to watch for these things, and I just wanted to show you some don'ts in terraforming, and yeah. Alrighty, well that's going to do it for this little terraforming tutorial. If there's any other things you would want me to cover, then I would be more than happy to make a part 2 or any other video. If you have any other suggestions or criticisms, I would love to see them in the comments as well. And yeah, if that's going to be all of it, then you have a good day. Bye-bye.